Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to look into the starting phase of Android Studio, that is to create your first application. It's going to be pretty simple, and let's start right away. So if you remember, in last tutorial we finished with the installation of Android Studio, and once you click finish, it will be available here in the applications folder or in here, and then you can double click that and this is what you're gonna see. So you can click on start a new Android Studio project, because we are going to start with new project now. And let's start with empty activity. You can obviously start with this or whatever interface you want, but for now we're going to start with ground zero, so we are going to start with empty activity for now. You can click on next and you can name it as whatever you want. I'm going to add it as first application, and make sure that you choose Java, because I'm going to teach you in Java. Let's go ahead and let's create a new folder here. First application, and then so that's basically done. And also I would like to just inform you guys that I won't be going in depth in Java, because most of the programmers, they already know Java, and if you don't, then I would suggest you to first go and dive in Java tutorials first, at least know the basics, and then you can come back here. So let's click on finish. Now it will try to sync. If you're if you're opening Android Studio for the first time, they would try to download few things. So I would suggest you to on your internet and then open your Android Studio, so it will just directly download whatever is required. Now once the syncing is over, you can see your project. It will consist of all these folders and files, so I'll get into them one by one. Now let's start with first, that is Android manifest file. So in here we'll be basically declaring the components like activity and the application and all. If you want to add in permissions and everything, you'll be adding it here, and if you want to add new activity, then it will be showing here. So all the other things, we'll get into them one by one, but this is like what it will basically consist of. Next thing we need to look into is the main activity that is under this folder. Now in main activity, we'll be adding in the actual code that the or whatever this folder will have. We'll be adding the code, and that is what is gonna build the application. So this is like the heart of the project. And after that, we will be adding in few drawable and few layout files. So in layout files, basically it corresponds to whatever Java file you have. So mostly what we'll be doing is that whenever we create a new layout, we'll assign a corresponding Java file to it, and then it will link. Now for example, in here, if you see in main activity, this is linked to this layout activity main, which is this. Okay, so whatever coding or whatever things we need to do, we are going to take a reference of this and code it accordingly. Fine. uh, Now in drawable, we'll be basically adding in few things like the images of the icon or anything that is related with how the app or how the things will be seen in the app. So for example, in drawable, you want the like in activity main, you want to add a logo on the home page, so you're going to add the logos here, and then you can save it, and then after that you can add it in this activity main. We'll get into it one by one. So next thing, the most important thing I find is this build Gradle. Here you'll be like adding in the implementations or the libraries that you want. You can add in here, and we also will be looking into the SDK the minimum SDK, the maximum, like the target SDK version, everything, it will be declared here. So for example, if you want the minimum SDK to be like more than 23 or something like that, then you need to change it here. And target SDK, maybe if you want lesser than 29, you can change it here. So you can also change the application ID here. So basically the, you know, the things that you require um, for the project will be here. We'll gradually see the change, so you guys can have a look at what is the basic function of this. Now let's create our first application. So let's go to my main activity, and so this function on create here is going to be called in the beginning, the moment the application opens up. So once it is called, as you can see, this layout is being assigned. So this is the layout that you're going to see. Um, Also, if you have a look at here, you can see that there's the launcher, right? So there's gonna be the home page the moment you open the application, okay? And once that is done, um, you'll be able to see the main activity. Fine. Now let's quickly run this and let's see how it looks like right now. This is the simulator that is already there. If you remember in the last tutorial, I showed you that we are installing the virtual device. So that is where this is coming from. And if you want to add in more devices, you can open AVD Manager and create virtual device. So that is going to create a new device for you. But for now, we are going to stick with this and we are going to run the project. So in order to run, you have to, you can just go to the menu and click on run, and there's like this run app, debug app, whatever you want to do. But for now, we are going to just run the app, and we are going to use a shortcut Control D. So you can like actually have a look, whatever OS you're using, you can go to the menu and there you're going to see what is the shortcut to that, or just you can click on that and it's going to run the application for you. So well, it is installed already. As you can see, we are provided with this Hello World, the famous Hello World. So this is how our application is looking like. So we'll do one thing. We will create a new activity and we'll try to make it such that on a button click it will go to that particular activity. So that will be like the first step. That is what usually you need, right? So you can go to your application, click on this and have a right click, okay? Go to the new option, and when you go to the new option, go to the activity and then go to empty activity again. Okay, we are gonna follow the same loop whenever you want to create a new activity. Fine. um, Now let's call this second activity. Fine. Let me make this big. Yeah, so this is the activity name. Let's go ahead and finish that. It will try to sync again, just to make sure everything is in place. And yeah, so if you go to the manifest file, you'll see the second activity is present here. Fine. So it automatically creates or adds in these lines for you. You don't have to worry about anything. And when you create a second activity, as you can see, there is a new XML file available for you. So let's go ahead and add in few things. First, let's go to activity main and add in a button. Now there are different types of layouts here. By default, they are giving a constraint layout. I would usually use a relative layout or linear layout. But for this tutorial, we're going to stick with constraint layout and head on to those layouts later. Let's add in a quick button here. So if you just drag and drop in constraint layout, that's the advantage, is that you can just drag and drop the button and it will just come there. Now let's zoom in a little. So as you can see here, let's add in a constraint, and so this is like an easy way of adding constraint. Yeah, this looks like it's at the center. Let's add in these two, and that's it. Okay, so your button is ready. Now if you have a look at the code, so your button is automatically added for you. Now in constraint, they do this automatically for you, but if you really want to code the layout, which I would usually prefer, you would have to add in the code and then you'll be able to see the layout here. Okay, so now let's now they have even given an ID called button. If you want to change the ID, you can go ahead and do that, but I'm gonna stick with this ID for now. So we have these tabs open. Let me close all that. Let's concentrate on only main activity for now. Quickly go on main activity, and so basically we are going to need the button here, right? Because through button we are going to go ahead and tap on that and go to the second activity. So now the moment you tap on, the moment you write button, so in Mac you have the shortcut where you can press on option and click enter, so it becomes, it just imports directly for you. I'm not sure what is the shortcut for Windows. Maybe you can have a look at these and they might just help you out. Now once that is done, you can just click on button. You can just type button for time being, and then we'll assign this button here. So if you can just have a look at how the assigning is, how the layout is being called. So same way we are going to do something like that. So we are going to call this find view by ID and r dot id dot button. So as you can see, button is already there. We are done with the initialization of this, and let's add in on click listener. So you're just going to add in the button and type in on click. So set on click listener. Oh, where is it? Oh yeah, so here just tap on that, and then so basically what are you gonna do when you tap on the button? So I'm just going to declare it here itself. Now in order to get the drop down in like Mac, it is like control and space and you get the drop down. So you just tap on that and you have this already properly given functions for you. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to create any new methods for this, just it's already there for you. Now what we are going to do is, the moment this button is clicked, we are going to go to the next activity. That's the second activity, right? So in the onClick method, we are going to add in the line that is required to go to the next activity. So we are going to use intent. So it will ask you to add in the intent, so you can again press option and enter. Here you can see what keys you need to press in order to do that. So in Mac it is option and enter, so click on that and click import class, and that's it. Now let's quickly make yeah, so we are calling this new intent, quickly making an object, and then after that, so we need to add in two things here. First is the own class. So I'm going to add in main activity, this. So this is the own class, and um, the next class is where, like, the next activity, which activity you want to go to. So that's the second parameter that we need to add in. We want to go to the second activity, so yeah, we are going to go there. So here it's gonna be class. So this is what we need in order to go to a new activity. Okay, so you're gonna hear the term activity a lot because I'm gonna use that, um, because in order to term to the next screen, we term it as activity. Okay, so I won't be using that screen word. Now let's go to the main thing, start activity. So start activity is the method that we are going to use in order to have that transition to the new activity. Okay, so this is all you need in order to go to that particular activity. Remember, we need the intent and we need the start activity, these two lines, and that's it. Okay, let's quickly have a run. Let's click on the Control D again, and let's have a look at the simulator. So you can see a button here. The moment you click on it, it will go to the next activity. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos and more tutorials to come. Do subscribe to my channel, and see you next time. Bye.